Good evening, campers. How are you all? Hope you've had yourselves a wonderful start to the week if you are in Australia. But if you're kicking around elsewhere in the world, I hope you're about to rock and roll the start to your week. My friends, how's it been out of 10? How's your start to the week been out of 10? Give us your scores on the doors in the comment section below. For me, it's been an all right one, actually. I've had a couple of really cool conversations. Well, any conversation with a legend like Robin Waters is always going to be pretty cool. We've got a webinar, coming up on Thursday, 10 a.m. Shameless plug here, with the REIV, 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. talking about mental health and coping with change. I think that's the title of the topic. It's going to be a Q&A session with Robin Waters, who is going to be questioning me and Tony McManus, who was a veteran of 20-something years, I think, in the real estate space, and now is a mental health advocate working out of Geelong, I believe. So, gang, let me know. How'd you go? Out of 10. Rob, not great. Oh, okay. Kirk, 8.5 to 9 for you, mate. It probably could have been a 9 if I'd have returned your phone call. I haven't got around to it yet. Been a bit of a busy one. I do apologise. I will buzz you in the morning. Maxine, we've had a 6. Okay, so what could we have done to potentially turn that into a 7, or what can we do to make sure that tomorrow is a 7? Maxine, Mickey Wood, here he is, host of the Hit podcast. Crap, what's it called again? Ooh, should have known that. 10, Michael, I'll probably just ruin that. Joe Mooney, she's just been texting me saying what she's been doing today. Yeah, and I don't blame you for having a 10, my friend. Was it going to shame you? Yeah, look, I'll shame myself, mate. I'm about as transparent as it gets, so I'll beat you to it. I'll do an M&M and shame myself. I featured on the show. It's a 10. Mate, I want to come and feature on your show. I reckon we should do something together. I reckon we could have some fun. Who else have we got here? Rob. That's not ideal, my friend. That is not ideal. Why did we have a angry swear face out of 10? What can we do? What can we do to help you change that for tomorrow, mate? Let me know. Send me a DM. Gang, and by the way, this is for that. I'm repeating. This is non-alcoholic, by the way. I am a teetotaler. Don't even bother with the booze. Don't need it to dance like a dickhead. I can do that perfectly fine when I'm sober. So, all right, gang. Got a few questions. Got a real smorgasbord of questions tonight. One in real estate, one in marketing, and one in the mental health space. So yeah, the questions are coming from all over the shop, which is awesome. So, but gang, if you do want to put any questions while I'm rocking and rolling, feel free to post them in the comment section below, and we'll get to them as and when we can. Gang, this is supposed to be a spontaneous thing. I've got questions to get sent through to us, which is absolutely wonderful. I really appreciate it. It's amazing. But if you guys want to put me on the spot, that's why I'm doing it, right? Because for me, part of my flow state conditions, I put a post up on LinkedIn earlier today about whether you can understand and identify the conditions that put you into a state of flow. Now, for those of you that don't know, a state of flow or a flow state or in the zone or something along those lines, as I'm sure you'll have heard it, it's when challenge meets skill set in a very equal sort of manner, and you feel like you're really sort of, like I said, in the zone, in the flow of things moving forward. Now, for me, auctioneering's my flow state space. When it's chaos in the auction, that's where this brain is nice and calm, and so you take the conditions from an auction and you try and replicate it in other things. And for me, spontaneity is one of them. So, gang, I mean, as I'm sure you guys are all aware, none of this shit is scripted in any way, shape, or form. So, please feel free to put me on the spot. I love it when people do. So you'll be doing me a favor. If you do want to come on the show, like what Michael Wood did a couple of nights ago, or was it last night? A couple of nights ago. Feel free. No, it was on Saturday night. You can let me know. Say that you want to ask me a question face to face, and I will send you the link to this show, and we will get you on within the matter of moments. And you can come and have some fun with me and ask me the question face to face. That would be even better. Now, again, let us rock and roll with the questions we've got on for tonight. Like I said, one in real estate, one in marketing, and one in mental health. So, first question from a BDM. I'm a BDM who's looking to increase my exposure in the industry. What do you think is the best way to do that? Okay. Now, before we answer the question in earnest, we've got to ask ourselves a much bigger question. Who are we trying to impress? Who are we trying to connect? I think one of the big misconceptions about this entire space, I've talked about it before, but with BDMs, it's very easy to make this mistake, right? I personally find. Now, are we trying to impress the industry? Or are we trying to impress our customers? Are we trying to impress the industry or trying to impress our customers? With BDMs, it's kind of interesting because you've kind of got to do a little bit of both, because you're going to be doing, to a degree, a bit of B2B sales, right? So investors can generally a lot of the time, they can see themselves as professionals who, i.e., they are people that are investing from a professional point of view in property. So there is a bit of B2B psyche that's going on there. But of course, you're always going to have your straight up and down, blue collar, hard working people who just work their asses off and want to invest it in the right places, right? So you've got a bit of a balance between B2B and B2C when you're a BDM. And the other big thing is, from a BDM point of view, it is really crucial that you get yourself an amazing reputation around the local businesses in your area. All right. So best way to go about that, twofold, if you ask me. For one, I believe that networking is your route to success by a country mile. If you can be a BDM that gets around town and helps out local businesses and whatnot to improve their map of the world and their vision on their business and whatnot, then that will stand you in tremendous stead from a credibility point of view. Okay, so that's part one. Part two, and this is something I think is applicable to the greater industry, to be perfectly honest. I still don't feel that we are taking, as a profession, we're not taking LinkedIn seriously enough. I really don't believe that we are. The few people that have taken it seriously have found themselves getting a degree of success from it. So BDMs, if you're a BDM and you have not got your game on with regards to LinkedIn, then you've really got to get your act together fast. It is vital that BDMs, if not the entire profession, get themselves onto LinkedIn as quickly as possible. The trend that is absolutely prevalent in inner city suburbs in particular, and all over the world, this is way more prevalent, is that people will do a search to see what you're about. And generally, LinkedIn is one of the first links that pops up on a Google search now. It's, for a lot of people, it's one of the first things that pops up. So if you've not got yourself your head around the LinkedIn space, you've really got to focus on it, gang. You really do. Because from a B2B credibility point of view, and in terms of people doing their homework on you, they will absolutely take LinkedIn into account because of the fact that it's getting so much more traction in a business sense, in a popularity sense. In Facebook, let's face it, everybody's on Facebook now. So if you can even remotely set yourself apart by having a good degree of professionalism and consistency on LinkedIn, then that is going to help you out a tremendous amount, in my opinion. So that, for me, networking and LinkedIn should be almost a sort of one-eyed sort of approach. If I was a BDM right now, that is exactly what I would be doing, because that way. And then the other thing is reaching out. So say, for example, you are in southeast of Melbourne, okay, and you want to try and connect with people within the space that you could perhaps do some collaborations with. Have a look at some of the property management only companies that are on opposite sides of the town, because for them and for smaller businesses, so you might want to even hit up smaller real estate agencies that are on other sides of town, or over the bridge if you're in Melbourne, or across the town if you're in Sydney or Brizzy or wherever. Have a think about what smaller firms are are a long way away that blatantly wouldn't be able to service rental properties if they got the opportunity in your area. Okay, that could be a tremendous way of collaborating with them. Yes, you'd give them a little bit of a clip off the leasing fee or whatever the case may be, but it could be a real good way of just getting yourself an extra 10%, 5 to 10% on your growth just from people within the space that can almost pretty much put a little bow on it and sort of hand it to you on a silver platter, right? So networking within the space, I think, is very, very important as well. But box clever. Look at small businesses or property management only firms that are operating on opposite sides of the town where logistically it makes no sense whatsoever getting involved where you are and where you're operating. All right, gang. So that's my take on the BDM space. We're going to fire through these questions tonight, I reckon. So next question is a marketing one. Recruitment. So this was asked of me by an old schoolmate of mine, actually, who is in the UK, based in Bath, and is building and starting a recruitment firm for execs, so C-suite execs, particularly in the startup and scale-up space, looking around the tech space predominantly. And he sort of asked me this question: recruitment is an on-off type need for business. How do we stay present with executives if they don't need to recruit? And this is kind of in parallel with sales in real estate, right? Because, you know, generally people only want to talk to you, or they only want to know about you if they've got a sale of a property on their mind. Okay. Otherwise, you know, our service is irrelevant to them, to be honest. So how do we stay front of mind with these people? How do we sort of stay with our foot in the door so that as and when the need comes around, we can, you know, we're there. We've got ourselves a shot of getting some business. Now, from a recruitment point of view, absolutely, you are very much an on-off thing. But one thing that I was taught a long time ago, and I think it's, you know, being in hospitality, you kind of have to have this mentality anyway. You should always be recruiting. You should always be looking to see who you can hire, who's good talent, who's worth taking a punt on, who's worth expanding the business for example, right? So you've always got to be recruiting for fresh talent, because ultimately, whoever's working for you, there's going to be a probability that one or two of them are going to have, you know, ideas of their own if they've got any degree of ambition, or, you know, situations change, right, out of our control. So we need to make sure that we've got contingencies for that. And I think recruiting and maintaining a level of recruitment is critical, to be perfectly frank. Now, how do you do that in a B2B space? So in a B2C space, it's obviously a little bit easier, because you can do education, you can do lots and lots of different little things. In a B2B space, the one big thing that we all need to remember is that there is still a podgy, fleshy, human-like thing that's controlling the business that you are looking to engage with. So you've really got to work back from the human that's at the top of the shop. Do your homework on them, do your Googling on them, and look to see where you can make proper human connections with them. Okay, once you've done your homework on that and you've got yourselves a bit of an idea as to what their MO is, what their language is in terms of how they like to communicate, do they do a lot of analogies to sport or music or whatever the case may be, and then look to resonate on a human level first. You do that, and then they will be more open to listening to you from an educational point of view. Okay, if you can do that, resonate with them as a human first, and then start to percolate those real good practices, best practices, then you're going to put yourself in a much better position. I really should have got Chanel McCasey on from Titanium Recruitment. She's a top chicken when it comes to all this. But gang, and like I said, you could say the same for BDMs. You could say the same for salespeople. You know, it really makes no difference. If you're in a job where it's a very one-off transactional type thing, or there's not like regular occurrences of transactions over the course of a short period of time, then you know, you've got to think about how you can resonate with people as human beings before you start touting your services. Because ultimately, if all you're doing is touting your services and you're saying, like, for example, coming back into sales, I'm just listed, I'm just sold, I'm just this, I'm just that, whatever, then it's just going to like hit a wall and just just slide down the wall, right? Whereas if you connect with them on a human level, it's got a much greater opportunity to resonate from an emotional point of view, and then therefore the potential of them being able to remember you are, or remember what you're about at the very least, is naturally going to improve. Okay, so always think about the human before you think about getting in the door, because if you do that, the door will get opened for you by the human anyway. All right, so that's my 2 cents on that. Now, last one. This came to me not long after old Captain Dan took to the plinth, took to the platform, and said, there's a potential chance for, stage 4 restrictions being extended, blah, 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 blah. Now, if you are finding yourselves worrying and fretting and focusing on what's being said today, then there's a part of me that feels that you really have not got the focus on the right thing, part one. But it's almost like you're clinging on to the problem. All right, you're clinging on to the problem. Now, don't get me wrong, there are going to be logistical things that will come up as a result of anything that gets changed or whatever. But as of now, nothing's changed, nothing's happened. So what we need to make sure that we can do, my friends, is try and stay as laser focused as you possibly can on the job at hand, which is making sure that your business is going to absolutely smash it out of the park once the curtain is raised, whenever the curtain is raised. All right. You need to pay attention to what's going on, clearly, because of the fact that it has direct impacts on our businesses. All right. If it wasn't for that, then I never watch the news, I never read the news. I don't care about the news, because ultimately I'd rather just focus on my world and making sure that everybody that's within my world is okay and content and happy and moving forward. And that's really all I can focus on. That's all that any of us can focus on. So these macro things before COVID really, it really didn't affect me in any way, shape or form. So with this sort of latest little curveball that we may or may not have been faced with, just understand that, and I've said this before, and plenty of people say, you can only control what you can control. There is no point speculating. All that speculation does is cause anxiety. Not only does it cause anxiety, it generally causes friction between you and whoever you're debating it with or against or whatever, okay? And neither of those two things, from an emotional or energy point of view, are worthwhile creating. I don't want to create anxiety or friction in my life. There's plenty for us to be battling against, right? There's plenty of pressure trying to push us back right now, without you needing to exacerbate the concern by banging on about it. All right? Let's stop banging on about it and just focus on what we can do. Because I'm telling you now, I mean, look, Joe Mooney, case in point, she just hit me up with a text a few minutes just before we kicked off, saying that she needed a nap because, and I'll read it, listed one over the phone, did another listing and appointment on Zoom, negotiating one from a virtual tour, and added 17 new buyers into the database. That's a chick that's focusing on the job at hand right there. Okay. And it's not like, I mean, look, I think she's ace because she's a really good friend of mine anyway. But she will tell you, it's not like she's special. She's such a cool individual. And I have so much respect and admiration for her. Very good personal friend of mine. But she will say to you that she is nothing special. But the one thing that she is incredible at is focusing on what she can do to improve things just a little bit every single day. Okay? So if you are really, because the problem that we've got is the fact that a lot of people's energies, mental energies, are done. A lot of them are toast. And so you're really struggling just to find where your next step is, okay? If you are at that level, then what you need to try and do is look to see, don't try and find where you can make big improvements, like big changes, big thing, big impacts on your business, okay? Because chances are you're going to balls it up. What I would suggest that you do is take a leaf out of Sir Dave Brailsford's book. Sir Dave Brailsford being the Team Sky cycling, like, god, who single-handedly changed an absolute debacle of a team in British cycling and turned it into one of the most dominant sports teams ever in any sport. And he talks about the law of incremental change, where all he did, instead of trying to focus too much on trying to make huge changes, statement changes, he just looked at creating 1% improvements on every little bit. So if you're really down and out and you're really struggling for energy, but you're really anxious and like really wrapped with stress because you're not moving your business forward, just look in each element of your business, just look to see how you can improve things just by a little bit, time after time after time. Just 1% here, 2% there. How can I just tweak this and just chop this and change this a little bit? Because what you'll find is those small changes, if you make, say, 2 or 3 little 1% changes a day, okay, say you make 3 a day, then over the course of 5 days, you'll improve various elements of your business by up to 15%. That's significant. If you think about it, right, and you add 15% onto your gross revenue, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying, gang. If you focus just on little bits, just focus on little bits and how you can improve things just a tiny bit. How can I move this thing forward just a notch? And you'll find yourself in a much stronger position than you realized when it comes to that reflection of looking back on the week. And you've realized, shit, I've actually come a little bit of a way here. Okay? And then that natural momentum starts to build once more. But you can't go making wholesale changes. I can promise you, I've tried it from a personal point of view, and it doesn't work. It just puts you further in the hole. Believe it or not, when I was in real struggle town one time, from a mental health point of view, I decided that starting a master's degree in sports management was the right way to go. Like, you know, I think I only did 2 modules, spent $3,000 on each. Very quickly remembered that I am so shit when it comes to studying. I just haven't got the attention span. And it was just a $6,000 mistake, but it was brought around because of the fact that I was just desperate. That's what the problem with mental health. It makes you desperate to clamber onto any sort of improvement, right? Like, I need to try and stretch and get myself back out of this as quickly as possible. I'm telling you, that can put you so much further in the hole, both financially and mentally. It's not worth trying. So just think, little improvements, just little small ones, small manageable ones, right, that you can maintain. That's the other thing about making big changes is, have you got the capacity to maintain it? You've got the time now, but what happens in a couple of weeks? Easier said than done, right? So, there you go. 3 questions answered in quick time. Hope you guys got a little bit of value from a little bit of that. Hopefully you did. If you do have any questions, feel free to send me a DM. I'm more than happy to answer them at any time, but I will, if you want me to bring them up on the show, then of course I'll be more than happy to do so. But my friends, I'm going to leave it there because, it's been an interesting day, particularly in Melbourne, but around the country, there just seems to be a little bit of angst kicking around. So please look to see how you can just recollect your thoughts. And instead of trying to make seismic changes, instead of trying to take huge strides in a world where there are that many pitfalls not that far ahead of you, if you're not careful, you're just going to lead yourself into more and more trouble, if for nothing else other than this. So just think, recollect your thoughts, think small changes, think about little steps moving forward, time after time after time, and head down. Focus on what you can do. All right? If things change, things change. Fuck all we can do about it. So just focus on what you can do now. All right? And if you keep whinging and bitching and moaning about all this sort of stuff, it's a bit like me and Robin Waters spoke about this very briefly earlier on. The people that are really going hammer and tong, having a real good bitch and moan about agents doing the wrong thing, right, within this metro lockdown area and beyond, actually. And my response via private message to a few of them, but me and Robin sort of talked about this today, is, gang, why waste your energy on bitching and moaning? You could have spent the same amount of time writing a positive message that could have resonated more with your consumer population, that would have perhaps just nudged one of them over the edge to give you a call to list. See what I mean? You got to be very careful how you work yourself within Facebook and whatnot. I do understand that everybody has bad days, and sometimes a good whinge and a moan or a rant or whatever is required. I get that. But have a think to yourself before you do it. How is this helping me in any way, shape, or form? You might think it make you feel relieved or whatever. It's nonsense. If you think someone's doing the wrong thing, just have a quiet word with the powers that be, and then just crack on with your day. Don't drag yourself down. Why would you do that? All right? Focus on you. Focus on the dude or dudette in the mirror, and ask that person how you can improve yourself, your business, your mental health, your physical health, just by a little bit today. Have a go at that tomorrow morning. How can I improve things by 1% today? It will help, because 1% doesn't feel like that big a jump, right? It doesn't feel like that big an issue to do. So just do that. None of us can take giant leaps right now. You can do a lot of 1% things really quickly. Sometimes you just got to be methodical. Just get one or two out of the way, just to give yourself that sense of momentum in the right direction. All right, gang? I hope that helps. My friends, I'm going to love you and leave you. It's been a blast, as always. Thank you so much to those of you that joined me. Please make sure that you tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. But until then, my friends, if you have any dramas, hit me up on a DM and we'll have a proper chat about it. But stay safe, stay healthy. Most importantly, my friends, stay happy. All right? Love ya.